This week's Parashat Behaalotcha, we read of one of the sad stories that occurred in the Midbar. Unfortunately, many sad stories occurred, many mistakes that the Yidden did in the Midbar. One of them is the Hasafsuf asher b'kirbo yisavu taiva. The Torah says that the Asafsuf, Rashi says the Eruv Rav, those that joined the Jewish nation, they weren't really on the level. They joined the Jewish nation and they caused the Jews to complain. The Hisavu taiva. They caused the Jews to have a craving for basar, for meat. Rashi asked, what do you mean a craving for meat? They had enough meat. When they left, it said Erev Rav Mikna, it said Erev Rav Ot Tzaynu Bakar, and it says Mikna Rav Ha'ilu B'nei Ruvain. It says later on that they had a lot of livestock. They had sheep, they had cows, they had everything they needed. What do you mean Hisavu Taiva? They wanted meat. Rashi says, yeah, they found something. Shemavak Shemalila. They found a reason to complain. They found an excuse to complain. Rabbi Moshe Sternbach says in his Sefer Tuftam, Rabbi Moshe Sternbach asked a question on this Rashi. I don't understand. What do you mean they looked for a reason to complain, but they had the meat? What does Rashi mean that they looked for a reason to complain? If they had the meat, they looked for a reason to complain, something that they didn't have. But how could Rashi say they had enough meat, but they were looking for a reason, so they said, oh, we want meat. So take your meat and eat it. What were they complaining about? Moshe Sternbach says a very unique approach to this parasha through the lenses of Rashi. It says we know that all the Yidden in the Midbar, they were eating the mon. The mon gave them whatever they needed. The Chazal explained very in detail how a person ate the mon. He felt everything that he needed. He was full. He was satiated. He didn't need anything after the mon. Whatever he needed, he got from the mon. All his nourishment, all his sustenance, he got from the mon. They didn't need anything else. But the mon was lechem abirim. It was a very spiritual type of food. It wasn't a food that they could experience all the animalistic pleasures of eating a geschmack piece of roast. No, that they didn't have. They had the mon, it gave them everything that they needed, the taste that they needed, but without the cravings that usually we associate with the material pursuit of eating in order for the enjoyment, the physical enjoyment of the food. They had the sustenance, they had what they needed, and that's what they had. And the Asafsuf, they came and they said, no, we want the meat. We want to feel the craving for the meat. We want our mouth watering with all the tastes of the roast beef and the meat that we want to have in order. Why did they want it? So Rabbi Moshe Sternbach, this was after the Nevuah of Eldad and Medad. This was after the fact that the Yidden felt that they weren't the nation that left Eretz Mitzrayim, got the Torah ready to go straight into Eretz Yisrael. They already realized that they made too many mistakes and they're in a bad situation. And then the Chofetz Chaim says something very similar in Shmir Saloshan towards the end, where he goes through every parsha. He says in Parashat Shlach, he's talking about Parashat Shlach, but it's the same idea in Parashat Behaalotcha. There's a very, 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 very vicious Sahara that comes to a person. When a person starts going off the path, when he starts doing small mistakes, the Sahara comes and says, you're already not worthy. You're not that tzaddik that can reach the highest madregas, that can go to Eretz Yisrael, can live a spiritual life, can eat the man and eat the bread of the man. No, didn't you hear Eldad and Medad said Moshe's dying, Yeshua's going. We're not that high level nation that left Mitzrayim. We're at a different level now. We have to eat the meat. We need regular meat like regular people. Chofetz Chaim says it's a very dangerous Sahara, and then Rabbi Moshe Sternbach says the same thing over here. They found an excuse. What do you mean they found an excuse? They said we don't want the mon. We don't want all the spirituality. We want to lead a regular life. I'm a regular Jew. I'm a pashta Yid. I don't want this high level stressful life that the mon demands. And this is a very, very, very dangerous Sahara. And the Chofetz Chaim and Rabbi Sternbach here is teaching us also that every Yid has to realize that he has a potential to reach the highest madrega. There's no such thing as a pashta Yid. Every Yid is an Am Kodesh, an Am Segula, and a Goy Kodesh. Every Yid has the potential to reach the highest levels of possible achieved by man. A person should never stop and say, I don't want this level, I don't want the man, I want the regular meat. No, a person he has the man, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him the man, that means he believes in him. It means he believes in him to reach that madrega. And every person meets this Sahara sometime in his life, this challenge, and a person should be able to overcome the challenge. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the koyach to overcome the challenge and realize the potential that's in every single Yid. Every single Yid is an Am Kodesh, a Goy Kodesh. And every single Yid is part of the Mamleches Koyanim. Every person can reach the highest madregas possible, eat the man, and be satiated by the man, and don't have to lower themselves to the level of Hisavu Taiva, the cravings of the meat. Should have a good Shabbos. This has been a short thought on Parashat Behaalotcha.